Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PC Gamer Show for August 1st, 2018. Still a great year to be playing video games. We got a great show for you today. We're going to talk about No Man's Sky, the sites we've seen since the next update. We're going to talk about my uh, further impressions of Monster Hunter World on PC, and some other topic. Oh, yeah, Sea of Thieves. We're going to talk about Sea of Thieves Cursed. Jesus, what's the name of it? Cursed Sales.
That's it.
Sales. First, let me introduce my two lovely guests. A duo never before together on the show until today. Surprisingly, I figured you guys would be a great regular slot, but we got Chris Livingston, staff writer. How you doing, Chris?
Hello, I am good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, anytime. And oh God, he just disappeared. He just dipped out after that. He'll come back here in a sec, I'm sure.
Bye, Chris. Bye. Oh,
And Tyler Wild,
my face is huge.
editor. How you doing? There he
Yeah,
is.
I'm
He's back.
here.
I'm back. I turned my mic off and the program quit. So
That makes sense. That's what you wanted it to do when you put in that command.
How you doing, Tyler? Did I ask you that? I was so distracted by Chris disappearing.
Yeah, I am. I'm very good.
Yeah.
Very busy with all the video games that are happening.
Starting to pick
Despite
up.
it. Yeah, it's a quiet month. You know, the middle summer months tend to be because people announce stuff at E3, but then it doesn't come
Yeah.
out till like November or the next year. But there's still a lot to talk about, I feel like. So
Yeah, for sure. And most importantly, and before we get to our usual now playing segment, if I can, there we go. I have an important query for you guys. I got something in the mail the other day, and I want to talk to you about this because I feel like I need perspective outside of my own. And I'm just gonna grab them here. So I got, and you might have to go to my Twitch stream to see this, but I got this Ninja brand underwear in the mail, and I just open up Twitch, guys, if you don't mind. And I kind of want to know, like, personally. And I'm going to review these. Is the reason these are not a personal purchase. Winking hard at the camera. I want to know what you guys think of. Just first glance, think of this Ninja brand underwear, PSD in partnership with PSD. What you think of it aesthetically, and just a quick look functionally. If you think this is the kind of thing you want when you're walking around in the summer, or running, or whatever conditions you might, wear underwear in.
it looks like it offers support.
Yeah.
And that's important, of course, especially if you're active. It also looks like it should have like a matching bedspread, perhaps for my rocket ship or race car themed
Yeah.
bed frame. Yeah.
Good call.
I like how the electricity appears to be shooting directly into the testicles, and I think when you turn around, also the butthole.
Yeah.
I think that's good. I think just wearing that psychologically, thinking there's like, you know, a lightning bolt striking me in the dick and butt at all times. I think that would give me kind of like I don't know, a psychological edge
Yeah.
in my day to day.
Keeps you vibrating forward
Yeah.
and backwards. It's just
Yeah.
bam, bam.
And here on
Like
the
even
side,
even when no one can see it, you've got lightning
yeah,
striking your
it's
dog.
kind of like some people wear like butt plugs out and stuff, and that's like it gets them excited. And so like it's like a bit of sexual titillation, little
Is
confidence.
that allowed? Is that allowed on this show?
I don't know. It is now, I guess, because I said it. It's a thing people do. I'm not like damning it or praising it or whatever.
Of
But
course, yeah.
and some people do that, and some people just wear their Ninja Lightning Bolt underwear out. And I
Are
gotta
they
tell you,
comfortable? Have you been wearing them?
it's like wearing nothing. Well, I mean, it's like wearing 98% polyester. Feels good, but like consciously, you kind of know, man, this is all fake. This is all fake. I do wish it was a bit more natural in its
Has it
makeup.
improved your performance in Fortnite?
I can't say.
And in general.
I mean, I will say that like I took these babies on a run, and I felt good. I felt like
I like that you've both worn them and you're holding them very close to your face.
yeah. I washed them.
Oh, okay.
I watched them. Don't worry. I'm gonna give them another week or so of a couple different trials, and see how it goes. But aesthetically, it's good to know you guys at least think they're good for confidence, and they certainly evoke power. Um, okay. I have some outsiders' perspectives to go on here. Maybe I should ask some more people. Maybe take it out on the town, but we'll get to
I
that
think
later.
I think there's going to be probably a lot of reader questions at the end pertaining to the Ninja Underpants.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Readers, or excuse me, listeners, watchers, if you have any questions about the makeup, build, the performance, or whatever else you can think of about this Ninja PSD underwear, please do at the end of the show save your questions up.
Is this like the first streamer underwear deal that you're aware of?
You know, I think there have been smaller deals around, but PSD is supposedly big time. I know previously some like NFL athletes and NBA athletes have struck deals with PSD. I know nothing about PSD, but I do know their underwear is very comfortable and 90% plastic.
This all, of course, is going into the new undergarments section of PC Gamer
Yes.
that we're launching soon. Just all reviews of boxers, briefs, boxer briefs, women's underwear as well, of course. Does Ninja have other styles of underwear available if I'm not interested in the boxer brief?
You know, yeah, he's got a women's, child's, and I think he has a sports bra if you need support up top too. But the brand is growing, changing all the time. So I don't know where you can actually find this stuff. I wouldn't recommend Googling Ninja underwear
That's a good point.
unless you know what you're doing. But
Yeah, you got to be a level 5 internet user to
exactly.
do that. Yeah.
I seem to have lost my webcam. This is good. But while that happens, let's shift topics to what you guys have been playing. We'll leave my undergarments for another day. What you guys been playing this last couple? Well, Tyler, like since forever, because we haven't had you on the show.
That's true.
What
What have I been playing since forever?
Since forever.
Wow, a lot of stuff. Well, we just played some Sea of Thieves. We'll talk about that more later.
Mhm.
I played a bit of No Man's Sky over the weekend. Got myself a freighter, and I thought I was special for I killed 4 pirates, and the captain gave me his freighter. But then I found out that happens to everyone. I'm not special, so that kind of
bummer.
You're special, Tyler. Not in this case. Not in this case. But in general, you're special.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I've been playing a puzzle game we really liked.
What's that?
Called Opus Magnum, which
is yeah.
Like the phrase Magnus Open, but you reverse that, and then you get the title of the game. It is pretty fun. Well, it's one of those games where you have to build a contraption that creates a certain output, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing alchemy contraptions, but it feels really satisfying to solve a problem the first time and do it. But then you see this high score screen where it compares you in a few categories with your Steam friends. And it's one of the most infuriating things ever, because I'll finish it and be really proud of what I made. And I'll be like, oh, Tom Marks did it cheaper, and his worked faster, and his used less space. And I'm like, God damn it, Marks. Now I have to spend another hour trying to make a better stupid machine than you. So it's a hell of a time sink, but it is very good.
Yeah, it looks so satisfying. Some of those high level machines I've seen on Twitter. Isn't there a built-in? Sorry, I was fixing my camera. So if you've said this already, is there a built-in GIF generator?
There is. I haven't tried it yet,
okay.
But if you want to make a GIF of your cool, super efficient machine, you can. I like it.
Cool.
It is definitely worth getting if you like puzzle games, especially open-ended puzzle games where there's not one solution, there's just a better solution. Every time you make something, you're like, I could have done that better, cheaper, faster. What else? I've been playing Rocket League, of course. I'm always playing Rocket League.
Heck yeah.
So they put in a new map, a throwback map to rocket-powered battle cars, whatever it was called, that actually doesn't have the goals built into the back wall. It has them offset from the wall, like a hockey
Huh.
arena, so you can go behind them.
Behind it, yeah. Interesting.
And initially, this was just in a playlist where you could play the classic soccer mode with a ball.
Right.
But they finally put it into the private match options. So we've been playing hockey with this sort of hockey arena style map, and it's like completely changes everything. And the friends I play with, we have this whole fantasy of creating a private hockey league, which if you don't know, you can use a puck in Rocket League if you want to, where we actually have people like role play linesmen and call offsides and call icing, and if you blow someone up, you get a penalty. You get a tickle timeout. I think we should try it once
Okay.
if we can.
Yeah.
I think it would be amazing to get actual referees in a sports video game. And I know there are people who role play air traffic controllers like as their gaming career. That's what they do. So I know there are people out there who would role play hockey referees.
That'd be tight.
I'm sure there are, just talking about those, like, why isn't there a game where I can be an ump in a baseball game? I would love to just, like, call the balls and strikes or even just be on the first base line. That'd be kind of sweet.
That would be pretty fun. You could, like, fuck with players you don't like. And, like a pitcher you don't like, he's giving you guff in the past. You can really mess with the strike zone. That'd be good.
I mean, that's a whole dimension of competition that I think by video games' very nature being tied to error-free computer machine, like programming to error-free in quotes, is the referee, or at least play,
Yeah, it's interesting because they're trying to make sports more like that. Every single year, there's an op-ed saying they should get rid of umpires in baseball and just use cameras. And then everyone says that's stupid. It's way more interesting a game when you have umpire. But sports like football and hockey to a degree, the instant replay, the slow-mo replay has completely changed how they're played. And in baseball too, the fact that they can go look at a millisecond of time to see if someone was tagged has changed things a lot. So there are people who are calling for a return to the old day where it's just the call on the field, or in the park is what happened, or people who say on the other end say that that real sports should be more like video games and you should have friggin' motion sensors detecting the exact second someone's toe touched the bag, when they're running into base. So
interesting.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to do the opposite thing with a video game as just sort of a weird artistic, thought experiment.
Plus, it's fun. I don't know. Like, I would love to. Like, video games are perfect for role playing. To be able to role play a referee, sounds fascinating.
Oh, let's make it. Let's get on Kickstarter.
Let's do it. Cool. Anything else, Tyler?
Those are the games I'm most invested in. Yeah, right now.
Cool.
I've been doing some newspaper crossword puzzles, but those are bullshit. I hate them.
Why are they bullshit?
I don't know why I started. Who are they for? That's what I want to know. Because I've done a few that have like some modern clues and answers, and I'm like, okay, these are fine. These are pretty easy. I can do them. But then I got like a best of pack, like Will Short's favorite crosswords, and it's like, who is an expert in Latin rivers, types of fabric, Greek gods, Irish poets, and 1960s sitcoms? Like, who is this person who knows all this stuff? It's not me.
It might be my mom. My mom has done New York Times crossword puzzles like for, I don't know, 30 or 40 years now. She's very good at them. It's kind of a skill. After a while, it's like you don't quite need to be an expert in things. You just need to kind of know how crossword puzzles work and what they're looking for in certain situations.
There's a lot of bullshit puns that repeat a lot if you do a lot of crossword puzzles where you're like, oh, I know what they're doing here. Like the one that pissed me off, it was a Colorado Rockies game, ? And I'm like, it's a baseball game. It's a fucking it's a baseball game.
It's a baseball game.
But then I'm like, oh, like a type of animal you would hunt in the Colorado Rockies. That's what they're getting at.
Oh.
And I threw it down and said, goodbye, crosswords forever.
But it can be satisfying to not just figure out the clue, but like what the clue is looking for.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it is like I was never very good at them. I don't have the patience, especially if you like buy a book of them, and then you're like, I get stuck. I'm like, I'll just try a new puzzle instead of like fighting my way through the one puzzle.
Got 30 with
I have 30 with like
puzzles.
8 clues in them. So
okay, that's not a PC game, so
nerf crosswords, nerf them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Chris, what about you? What you been playing?
Oh, yeah, I've been playing No Man's Sky still. I don't know if we're talking about this.
Yeah,
now
we'll
or
get.
later.
I have some. I pulled some photos from your articles and Andy's articles, and we'll kind of we'll look through those. But how's it been? I mean,
so
weekend.
this week, I kind of realized, all I do is like I go in creative mode mostly and fly around and look at stuff, and I thought like I should probably give the crafting like a real try, just to like not just when I get frustrated then go fly off in creative mode, but like kind of restrict myself to just crafting and actually playing and seeing how it works. So this week I decided like I'm just going to start a new game, and I'm not even going to fly my spaceship unless I absolutely have to. I'm just going to pretend it's like a walking simulator and go anywhere on foot and do a lot of crafting. So I've been doing that for a couple days. You do have to fly your ship a few times in the tutorial. They tell you to go to a couple places. And it's weird because when I think about like the kind of open exploration, I always look at crafting as this kind of roadblock to it. But now that I'm just trying to do crafting, I find like the exploration is a roadblock because it's constantly like trying to get you to go places, even though I'm like, look, I just want to stay. I found this like really awesome, beautiful moon with like amazing weather. It's really pretty. It was in my starter system. I'm like, I'm just going to land here and I'm not going to get back in my spaceship. And then the game is just like, nope, you got to get in your spaceship and go to this system and go to that system. And even after I'd done like a lot of the tutorial, so there's like this anomaly, the anomaly space station. It's like that goth space station that appears sometimes, and there's like high level aliens like, oh, welcome to the universe and all that shit. And I was like, I'm not gonna even deal with that right now. I just want to be on my moon building stuff. So I land on my moon. I get out of my ship. The anomaly appears in the system that I'm in. And I'm like, oh, great. Now I have to look at this. There's like a purple icon. Like, that's going to be distracting because it's not going to go away unless I go deal with it. Not only that, it starts making noise. It's like going like, gonk, gonk, gonk. And it's like, I had just like finished all the shit. And I just wanted to hang out. I felt like, you get home, you relax, you sit down, you got a beer, you got the TV or a book or something, and then a car alarm goes off outside. And it's just like, it wouldn't stop doing it. It would not stop. So I'm like, fine. I get back in my spaceship. I go up there. The anomaly guy's like, go talk to 30 aliens for me. So then I got to fly around finding aliens to talk to. And it's like this weird, like, complete switch of, like, originally I just wanted to fly around and there's all this crafting. And now it's like, I just want to do some crafting and I'm doing all this flying around. So it's been a bit of a mixed bag. But I do kind of like the crafting system. It's pretty cool in terms of the new refiner they added.
Yeah.
Because you can take like a base material and make it to something more complex, and then take that and put it back in and make it even more complex. And then you can also do it the other way around. You can like break down items. So it's kind of flexible. It's fun. I've got like a few little bases, and I've set up teleporters everywhere, so I don't have to fly. I can just zip around that way.
Chris, if another player who is not in your game, they haven't joined your game, comes across a planet you've built on, will they see what you've built or no?
I think so. Yeah, I think if I'm not sure if I'm not online, but I'm not. That's a good question. I'm pretty sure they'll see your stuff.
We're still asking these questions.
One for Sean Murray. Yeah.
Yeah, and in fact, we've got this week. We're gonna have like No Man's Sky questions answered because it is a little bit foggy how that stuff works.
Have you dinked around with the freighters at all? Because I've been doing my own fresh start playthrough with the mining and all that jazz. And
Yeah, I mean, I've collected a few. You can just like fly by them, and if you like one, you can buy it, and you can send them on missions. I sent one on a mission, and it was like a multi-part mission, and I would get little updates like we're here and this is happening, we're here and this is happening. That was in my creative mode. I don't think I checked back to see if they had completed it. But I will say one thing about like not flying your ship everywhere is like it's a much better way to explore a planet on foot, because like I would get a notification like, oh, the structure's here, and I'd look and it would say it's 10 minutes away, and I'm like, I gotta run for 10 minutes now. It would take like 3 seconds in a spaceship. But while I'm running, like there's nothing to do but kind of run around, so I would like look around and use my scanner, and I just found like 15 things on the way to my destination that in my ship I'm probably not going to see any of them. So we'd kind of recommend like from time to time just like leave your ship behind, especially if you're on a nice planet, and just go run around on foot or in a little vehicle.
Yeah, I didn't have a choice because the menus are so when you're getting back into it, the menus feel like nonsense. And I found a ship on my starter planet, and I accidentally traded for it. It was downed and catastrophically like torn to bits. Like all the storage spaces are taken up because there are so many radiation leaks, and you need platinum and all these things I just don't have access to, or can't. I need an advanced mining laser for, and I can't even build that yet. And so I ended up just walking an entire planet. I couldn't get my other ship back because like it was typically, I think you used to be able to walk up to your, if you exchanged the ship on accident, you could walk back to your ship and then say just trade back. But it wasn't working, and then my ship disappeared, and so I was fucked. Ended up being a nomad and just wandering that entire planet on foot, finding the stuff I need, walking for like literally 20 minutes at a time.
Chris,
so it was wild.
Was it you that posted on Twitter like you had sold your ship and then your old one just reappeared and started like doing the like going back to its home planet?
Yeah, I traded my starter ship for something else, and like I flew away. It was on a trading post on a planet, and I flew away from that planet. I was gone for like 2 hours. I went to a bunch of different planets, and I came back to that same trading post, and my ship was still there. And I was like, that's weird. Why would that still be in the game there? And then I just kind of bumped into it, and it moved. It like kind of started drifting. So I like ran against it, and it just kind of floated off like I don't know. It was weird. Like there was no gravity. It just floated away.
Yeah,
Very
I love
bizarre.
when bugged objects in games do that thing where they slowly move in a perfectly straight line away from you, just like going goodbye.
I'm with you. Anything else besides No Man's Sky, Chris?
That's been pretty much it. I'm on the No Man's Sky beat.
That's right. That's right. Doing a great job. Yeah, I've been playing No Man's Sky as well, here and there. A way to decompress between Monster Hunter World sessions, which I'll get to in a bit. I've also been playing Fortnite here and there. I took like almost a week break from Fortnite because I went back to Montana for a while and just had a junky mouse and I tried playing it and it just wasn't worth it. And I gotta say, it felt really nice not to play Fortnite for a week. I enjoy that game quite a bit, but there is the fun I have with it has since warped into some type of like emotional time/money investment where I feel like if I let go of it, I feel like my imaginary investment disappears or so by forcing myself to decouple from it, I think I gained my perspective back, the right perspective back, and it's a great game. But
Says the man who is in ownership of a pair of Fortnite streamer underpants.
I mentioned that in chat, and I blame Tim Clark for these beautiful underwear. I think I mentioned it as a joke, and he was like, "Do it."
You gotta watch out when you mention stuff like that, because like I brought up that we should, find someone who's left-handed and knows hardware to like review left-handed hardware, and then someone's like, "Oh, Steven's left-handed." It's like, "Well, Steven, you're using a left-handed mouse for a month now because I want you to, and it'll be funny for me."
It's your job. So, yeah, Fortnite. It's early in the season still, so gosh, we're about a third of the way through it actually. Now that I think about it, but no major changes. The remote missile launcher is back, but it's been nerfed pretty heavily, so it's less of a tool of destruction and more of a scouting tool. I haven't really used it too much myself, but yeah, Fortnite is still a steady drum for me. It's still fun, still enjoyable, but
What happened to the giant burger in the desert? Is it still there?
Oh no, it reappeared back in the game.
And it's not in the desert
It's
anymore?
no longer. I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I think they tried to time it with the launch of season 5 or whatever. But
I think in the future, every game is going to be such a complicated ARG that we're not actually going to be able to distinguish from when we're playing a game and when we're not. And the marketing schemes for Marvel films as well will make it impossible to be sure. They might just, create a giant alien spaceship for real.
who knows, man? It's getting weird. It's getting weird. It's tiring. It's tiresome for me. I was excited like for 10 seconds, and then I realized I'm gonna have to watch. Like I have to. My job is watching what happens to this fucking plastic burger in the desert for the next week.
We should have sent you out there. It would have been great.
Oh my god!
Could have done like a Gonzo report from the desert as you slowly succumb to dehydration, watching the giant burger.
That's good. It seems like a good place to die. But yeah, that's what I've been playing. But let's turn back to Monster Hunter real quick, and I'll keep it brief because I want to save most of my thoughts for the review, the inevitable review. Let me make sure I can get this topic listed here. But review rundown. There we go. Monster Hunter World PC. Are you guys? Are either of you guys Monster Hunter people? Did I bring this up to the wrong folks?
No, I'm not. I mean, I've never played one. I started. We have some advanced copies of World on PC, and I started it, but it's my first time.
First time hunting, huh?
I have a friend who bothered me for years about how I need to be playing Monster Hunter.
You don't. You really.
I was like, I believe you. I believe you. I'm not going to, but I believe you. And also, I don't have a Nintendo, a handheld, or anything.
Right. Well, now you can finally play because Monster Hunter World's coming to the PC. It's coming out next week. We like you said, we have advanced copy, and we mentioned this early last week, is because the day we got it was the day of the show, so we didn't have in-depth impressions of how it was performing and all that stuff. And we're allowed to talk about it to that extent. No final review talk, of course, but it's been quite the nightmare at the moment. I think our early port impressions were hesitant. They pointed out that it was very CPU heavy, and it was very, very difficult to run at high frame rates, especially at higher resolutions. But what am I? I'm about 20 hours in, and I would say 7 hours or so have been me just repeating hunts because it crashes so often. Now, this is a known issue. I know Tom, to mention Tom again, he's been playing too. He has the same crashes. Wes reported a few during his short time. I think Steven did too. It's a known issue. We reached out to Capcom, and they did say they're aware of the issue and they're working on a fix. When that fix is coming out, pre-launch, post-launch, we don't quite know. I would really, really hope pre-launch, because it would be very difficult to recommend playing Monster Hunter in its current state. But when I can play it, it is great. It is excellent. It is a great time. I love going out there into the field, hunting down a bat balloon. There's a bat that's like a blowfish. Uh-huh. It balloons up, a big pink bat, and it's incredible. I love to kill it. I love to kill the big pink bat. But yeah, it just the every battle feels like a desperate struggle because stupidly these people in this universe like are 99% of them are wielding weapons twice the size of them. Like it doesn't they can't even like stop to think and say, wow, this is too heavy for the average person. But the things they're dealing with, I guess the monsters they're dealing with are also pretty big. Yeah, but swinging, every swing feels like a bit of, like there's a bit of a prayer behind it. Like I hope this connects, I hope the timing is right, and I hope the monster isn't beginning its next move while I set up this combo that could end up with me like getting thrown across the arena. And all the monsters I've encountered, again, I played this all on PS4. I beat the game on PS4, but all monsters are unique in appearance and behavior and weakness, and prepping for them is increasingly more interesting. It kind of gives this sort of, I won't say there's no respect between you and the monster, but you have to. There's clearly no respect. But you clearly have to study them and pay attention to them, especially later on as they get more challenging, and spec your weapons and your item loadout to prepare for what they can do, or what their weaknesses are, or what your weaknesses are. So great so far, except for the crashes. We'll have more on that when it comes out for sure. So stay tuned. I just want to kind of say that as like a PSA to people who are on the fence about buying the port. I would say,
I'd say just
wait a little bit,
or just wait to hear news.
Yeah,
about
that's
it,
what I mean.
right?
That's what I mean.
It could be that tomorrow you post a news story
Exactly.
that says it's all gone, the crashes are fixed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We will, as soon as we know, we will share that information. So let's move on. So just before the show, we went to sailing, didn't we, fellas?
We sure did.
Sea of Thieves, Cursed Sails. What do we call it? An expansion update?
I guess I'd call it an update. It's a free update for everyone. It's the first like really big one of a few that they've. Well, I guess there was one earlier that was big-ish, but it's not just like an event like There's a Shark now. It's a new ship that fills the gap between the smallest ship and the biggest ship, so you can have. It's a 3-player ship. New skeleton ships that are roaming around, so you're not only seeing other player ships. You could see skeleton ships and a new alliance system. Those are the main highlights.
Yeah. What do you guys think of those updates? Like, what do you think Sea of Thieves needs? Is that what you were hoping for? Is this stuff really additive to you?
Well, kind of ironically, this new update broke the last update, or some of the features they've added, they had to take offline because this new update, I guess, didn't play friendly with them. Like what was taken off the Kraken is temporarily offline, and something else, right?
The skeleton forts.
Right.
The skeleton forts, yeah. I wonder if they were having problems because maybe the skeleton forts were bombing the skeleton ships and the Kraken was attacking the skeleton ships. I don't know. They didn't.
Oh,
specify.
maybe.
But maybe with all that new AI going on, it just got a little too crazy in there.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I stick by my initial review. I think the game's really fun. I think people give it a hard time and say it doesn't have enough stuff. And I would agree that adding more stuff is the way to make this game better. I don't really necessarily want them to change how it works at all. I just want more shit to discover as I go around the world with you guys. Because, I don't know, we do the missions sometimes, but that's not really super fun for us. I think we just like sailing around and getting into trouble and seeing what happens. Yeah. So more stuff just happening to us, or like treasure just that we find, would be cool. But the basic interactions between players are fun to me, whether they're hostile or friendly. We had a guy just come hang out with us, and he was cool.
Yeah,
helped us kill some skeletons for no benefit to him for some reason. But
yeah, we were just fighting some of those metallic skeletons and kind of getting our asses kicked, and he pulled up in a ship and jumped out and started helping, and then he was like, hey, can I get on your ship and reload my weapons? We're like, sure. So I think it's just an enjoyable world to be in. It's like I
Yeah.
just like be as soon as I'm in there, I'm like, it's just nice in here. And then kind of no matter what we do, if we do nothing, if we just sail around aimlessly, or if we actually try to accomplish something, it's just like a nice game world to be in. So I'm happy anytime there's something kind of new to look at.
Yeah, you're like hanging out with your pals on a very slow road trip and looking at the nice water and the sunsets, and it's I wouldn't want to play it with like strangers, I wouldn't jump into and matchmake onto a ship.
No.
But hanging out with you guys in there, it feels like just a fun sandbox to be in.
Yeah, and I think the things they're adding, like over time, are slowly making that a more interesting experience without like totally compromising what we like about it. Like this for a while there, we liked being pirate bullies, but this player alliances thing and these like kind of group activities, like taking down the big shark and taking down these skeleton ships. We've yet to take down the skeleton ships or even see one, but there's a new player alliance system that like you can float a flag up and it will like basically, I don't know exactly how it works because we haven't done it.
Yeah, it like basically says I'm open to an alliance, and then
Yeah.
they can go up the top of their mast to the crow's nest and say, yeah, I want to be in your alliance, and then you'll share loot with each other. But you could leave the alliance and attack them if you really wanted to be a jerk.
And I mean, just more clearer ways to. It was always easy to be mean, and now that there's like an easier way to not be mean, or at least like give you a new way to betray people in the end. I think that's great. Like there's most of the time, in my experience, anytime we saw another ship, it was we would get attacked or at least like harassed, and vice versa. We would do the harassing or attacking.
And often it would be like, maybe we're gonna talk, but then
Yeah.
everyone just gets bored and they're like, I'm gonna swing my sword at this guy, and then it's a fight,
Yep.
Which is very piratey in a way. Like, hey, how are you? I'm drunk and bored. But yeah, I don't know. I still think it's a fun game, and I think more stuff will. I wish Rare would tell us less about. They're being very open with their. They do a ton of videos going over. Here's every feature we're working on. Here's everything in this update. It's one of those weird situations where I almost wish a developer would be a little less transparent.
Yeah.
And that I would just pop into the game with you and Chris in a month, and something we've never seen before would happen and didn't even know could happen. Because we tend to go to guides when we're trying to like figure stuff out, which is it kind of defeats some of the fun of just discovering things on your own. So part of that is because for work we're like, we need to try to see these ships, so we kind of cheat. But
yeah, and I do think like their release, the way they package up these updates is I don't know, kind of annoying if you're trying to just hop back in and like have some fun immediately, because the shark update had you do this like string of kind of poorly signposted quests, basically just traveling all over to look at a journal or talk to someone. And same with this one so far.
Finish that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yet in another session with someone else, I got attacked by the shark twice without even doing any of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I do like that it was a surprise in that case. I thought that was good. It was kind of funny that after actively looking for it for like 2 hours with you guys, I just in the first 15 minutes got attacked by it. But
how about that? Kanifu's asking about the 3-person ship. You guys a fan? The layout, design? Think it's a nice ad?
I think it definitely needed a 3-person ship, because I often can't get 4 people in at the same time to do the galleon.
Yeah.
And like Chris said, even that the galleon's pretty unwieldy with 4 people. So 3-person ship seems good. It feels like a little more bare bones than the other ones. There's only one area below deck, which I guess makes it easier to deal with damage, because you're not like on the sloop. You have 2 possible areas where you can take damage. It just looks a little bare, I guess, but I like.
Yeah, I think because both the other ships have like their steps going up to the steering spot. I don't even know what is the ship steering wheel called?
Uh,
Oh no, you would put
Captain's
it
wheel.
in
Captain's wheel. I'll just
put
call
it in the wheelhouse. It's
Captain.
probably just the wheel.
But this is like it's just like one level on top. It feels a little weird to
Mm.
just have that kind of sight line. The other thing is like the hatch down the stairs to the lower deck is like directly under the ladder to the crow's nest. So like every time I would come down, I would just fall through the hatch. I don't know. It's kind of. I think it maybe needs another pass to make it a little more sensible. But
Yeah.
I do like that there's a choice between here's a tiny little boat and then here's a giant 3-mast ship. It's nice to have something that feels like even if a couple other people are kind of messing around, you can still you're not going to feel like I'm never going to be able to turn this thing around. So
Yeah,
it's a good option.
On the galleon, if you don't have someone working all the sails, it can be a real pain to get anywhere.
it's rough. Cool.
But yeah, I like it.
They should add more. I mean, I think they should have like 15 ships. It's weird.
Just keep adding ships.
It's
more and
weird.
more.
Like I don't know. A lot of the choices they made are kind of strange. Like that you can't. I don't know. But yeah, more ships, more stuff. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm continually fascinated with like what they're adding. This is only the first of 2 summer updates, or I can't remember what was announced at E3 exactly, but there was Cursed Sails and then another one.
So the first one was the Hungering Deep, which was before E3. That was the shark. And then this is Cursed Sails, and there's another one I can't remember the name of that's going to add a new area to the map.
Oh, that's right.
It looks like a volcanic sort of area.
Cool.
And rowboats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I heard rowboats are coming, which I am excited about because it's just part of it just adds to the fantasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like right now you either have to cannonball yourself onto an island or take a long swim, but I like the idea, the awkwardness a rowboat could introduce, I hope it's a little unbalanced and kind of,
Yeah, I think it'd be fun. Like if you found a bunch of treasure on an island to rowboat it out. It just seems like it's something you definitely don't need because, like you said, you can fire yourself out of cannons and swim and stuff. But it's just kind of a nice touch to have like a process to getting on and off islands. I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it would be fun too to just get everyone on the rowboat and then just role play, shipwreck survivors and just try to row up to other boats.
It'll be fun.
Sorry, my cat's trying to climb on this keyboard. Get out of here. No. Yeah, Sea of Thieves. They need to add the rowboat and they need to add the parrot. I think that's the big. What's up with these games? Like, first of all, Far Cry 5, no fucking horses. Sea of Thieves, no parrots.
How can there not be horses?
No
I didn't even know there weren't horses.
I know that. Honestly, Tyler, it struck me the other day. I was like taking a shower or something, and I go, Far Cry 5 didn't have any fucking horses. That's weird. And then,
I talk about it every time we play to probably all of your annoyance, but I'm like, where are the dolphins? Where are the whales? Where are, if I was making a game about the ocean primarily, the first thing I do is hire the whale animator.
The very first thing.
The very first thing I would do is I put out a call for whale animators. I need an expert. I want 5 to 10 experience in whale animation. It is a contract job.
Oh boy. Well, yeah. We'll be sure to we're gonna take a closer look at this Cursed Sails update. Hopefully, see some skeleton ships and team up with other people. And maybe write something about it, post a video. We'll see. But, stay tuned for more on Sea of Thieves. Let's talk about No Man's Sky one more time. I whipped up some photos. You guys might need to transition to or open up my the Twitch stream if you want to see these. Let me make sure they are. Boop boop. All right. Should be able to see them in a second here. So, Chris, would you say this next update has significantly overhauled like the sense of discovery and are you seeing new things all the time? Do you feel like it succeeded in that right?
I mean, they've added enough that you feel like I want to keep exploring in case they've added more than I found. Like there's definitely some new stuff to see on like planet surfaces. I think it was the Atlas update they added kind of these weird looking like cybernetic kind of synthetic planets and like planets covered with bubbles and weird objects, and there's more of that like in this picture here. This is one of those unusual planets where it's like this just looks different than 95% of the places that I've seen. So there's a few new types of kind of biomes, I guess you call them.
Okay. In particular, and we'll get to that in a second, there are two planets I'll have you talk about at length, your experience with them.
Okay.
Here we have, I think you posted this news story of Sean Murray appearing on the surface of a planet. Not by chance, not by math, but a player made this, yeah?
Yeah. Apparently he took a photo and kind of, I guess, boiled it down to a grid and then very carefully placed construction tiles on the surface in certain arrangement in certain colors that if you're flying well overhead, you can look down and see Sean Murray's face.
This is so good to me because it's like in this universe they are worshiping, or at least like making monuments to their god, essentially. Sean Murray on the surface of this lovely looking planet.
Yeah, in a way, I also feel like you can build anything you want. Like maybe build something. I don't know. It's a tribute, I guess, to. I mean, hey, if you love a game and want to show your appreciation, that's one way to do it. You can build a giant face of someone.
You can do that.
I have not visited. He did post the coordinates of that system, but I have not visited. I don't. The only portal I am close to in a game is my survival one, and I only have one key or glyph or whatever you need to open it. So.
Gotcha. Let's move on to the next photo here. I don't know.
I love this vacation slideshow we're doing. I want to hear that when you change photos.
I should get, I have these like 2 stream decks I need to put more sound effects on, but
this is a good one.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything quite this weird. And I'll link to our posts in chat, but we have a collection of all everything we've seen, including some in-depth looks at planets from Chris. This is a wacky one. What the hell are these?
There was a planet that's been around prior to the update that it was kind of like this. It only had giant metal kind of orbs that look like kind of look like roller mines from Half-Life 2. This is kind of like basically a reskinned version of that, but was definitely weird because these things look like they look like weird bones or something. Yeah. And you can't see them in the picture except way in the back, but some of them form into towers. So yeah, that's a really unusual.
I almost wish the algorithm or whatever the fuck, the math would go buck wild with this kind of music visualizer looking stuff and just let loose on the different shapes and geometry and colors you can find. I
wish we could see what would happen if you just fucked with all the variables and changed them to random shit. I'm sure it would be unplayable and visually unappealing in every way, but it would be funny for a moment.
Let's move on to this. So this one in particular, you kind of have. This is one of the planets you found that you went into depth and made an independent post about, this depressing planet devoid of almost all color. Can you talk about your experience with this one? Maybe describe.
Yeah, this was like I don't know. It's such an unusual feeling when I was landing. This whole game is really bright. It's colorful. It's very lush in how it looks. I mean, it's got that pulpy sci-fi, like super vibrant feel to almost all of it. But I landed on this planet, and like as I was descending, like it was like the color was just kind of slowly sucked out, not just of like the planet, but like you can see my ship, my character, like even the rocket's engine would kind of turn like almost black and white or sepia toned. So I was like, well, that's really unusual. I hadn't ever seen that really happen. Some planets, obviously it's nighttime or they're aren't as bright and colorful, but this place like sucked the color out of everything except for the water, which was brown and kind of gross looking. And like just standing around, like it just felt like a miserable, sad place. Like, look at those trees. They're very tall, but they're just kind of like weird. And like there was a little crab creature walking around, so I fed it and it was immediately killed by some other creature. I did it like 3 times. Every time I'd feed a crab, something would immediately pounce on it and kill it. Like, this place is like anti-happiness. It's just miserable.
Yeah, my favorite part was at the end where you tried to look up at a pretty ringed planet and then a cloud slowly drifted in front of it to block your view.
But I have seen 1 or 2 more of these throughout the universe where it really just it does something very different when you land. It just changes the kind of the mood and the atmosphere and just by the way it looks like you're looking through a filter, even though that's just how the game looks in one of those worlds. But it's interesting, a really interesting kind of visual effect.
Yeah, really fascinating. I was excited to play. I think as soon as you found this, it's kind of what sold me. I'm getting back in. This is just a funny little quirk that you pointed out, I believe. At all these terminals or these stations, ship stations strewn about the planets, they added more aliens to them. But
yeah, so back when they added these trading posts, or maybe were the trading posts always in there? I can't remember.
I think they were always there, but they were empty.
These planetary trading posts, and they would have all these like rows of chairs, like kind of like a bus station, but there would only be 1 alien at them, and he would be standing. And you were just like, wow, it'd be kind of cool to see these stations like populated with more NPCs. And now there are, like, you land at these places, there's usually 5 or 6 aliens hanging around. Some are still standing and some are sitting, but the ones who are sitting, like, they have different chairs, like they brought their own chairs with them. It's just like
there are literally none sitting in these in the
yeah. There's still nobody sitting in the red seats. Any alien is sitting.
They're like usually like
in
5
a chair
or
they
6.
clearly brought with them.
Yeah,
it's really.
I want to recreate this in like an empty airport, in front of a row of seats, sitting down on like a lawn chair, like angled with my back to the empty chairs.
Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's so they can be randomly plopped in, but it's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. Even though I have a sit emote now, like I can't sit in the chair either. So the most useless chairs in the galaxy are still useless, and I don't know who they're for. I have no idea who they're for.
Trash game.
Those aren't chairs. Those are aliens that happen to take the appearance of chairs.
They're actual aliens. That explains it then.
How rude.
No one wants to sit on them.
Let's move on. This one is striking as hell, and this is an Andy Kelly original. This red background. I don't know what causes that. Is that just proximity to certain planets, or I don't know actually.
Different systems have just different. Yeah, I don't know where that's meant to come from with the scientific explanation.
I don't care.
But it doesn't need one. It doesn't need one. It looks cool.
This beautiful ring planet, the blue clashes, contrasts nicely with the red. Nice shadow coming off it. I think it's just a lovely, like when the original promise was, we want to make a game that, where almost any screenshot could be a sci-fi book cover. This is this really says that to me. It's nice.
For sure.
It's nice. And this one, I don't know if this is safe for Twitch. It's got to be because this is what the algorithm made.
Is this the one I've been sitting here waiting for this whole time? Hoping you wouldn't actually show it? Yeah.
So, that's just a normal, it just looks like a planet. Nothing
it's a candle flame.
It's a candle
There's
flame.
a candle flame I can kind of see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very striking to, like, I warped into this system and it was just, it was just right there in front of me. You can do your own Rorschach test with it. But yeah, it was. Yeah.
We'll move on from it, Chris. I won't make you talk about it any longer.
I'm happy to write it in a headline, but I'm not talking about it.
Confronting you with it in public.
I landed on it. It does not look like that up close.
Nice. Let's. And then we got some clips here too. So this is a creature you found. Maybe give us like a little bit of a preamble here before we dive into what this is going to reveal. I don't know if you can see it yet. This turnip-looking thing with eyeballs coming out of the side.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, there's every now and then you'll land on a planet that's kind of populated by these little hopping plants. But this was like a large, very large hopping plant.
Let it play here. It's pretty goofy looking. You start shooting it. Monster. It gets sick. It dies. Sick from bullets. You punch it.
Yeah, I decided to try to roll it down a hill because I don't know, I'd already murdered it.
it's hell of a close up there.
Yeah, sometimes like when it comes to alien anatomy, you don't really want to know what's going on under the hood because that's a bit disturbing.
Bit much. And then there's this is nasty. We got one more video here, and this is a planet you found with just, well, I think this is the awful weather. I'll just let it play because it's pretty long. And maybe just describe your experience with this planet with god awful weather.
Yeah, it was I was, well, first of all, I couldn't land. I tried to land once. When I entered the atmosphere, it was in really, really stormy weather. I couldn't see anything, and you don't really land. You get close to the ground and hit the button, and it automatically lands for you. But it wasn't doing that. It was just my spaceship was just spinning around. I was like, what the hell's going on? Turned out, first of all, I was over an ocean, which you can't land on. I just couldn't see that I was over an ocean because the weather was so bad. The second time, so I flew back up and then picked another spot, and I came down, and this time it landed for too long. I was like, why? I should have hit the ground by now. It was still descending and descending and descending. I had landed directly into like a cave that was facing directly up, so I basically descended into the planet. And again, I couldn't see anything because the weather was just unbelievably terrible. And when I finally did get down there, it was just a planet that had constant kind of storms, but it was also like super beautiful and weird. And like a lot of these planets, like, oh, there's some weird animals and some weird trees and maybe some weird structures, but this one really felt like an alien place to me. It just seemed so unusual, and in the midst of the storm, I could only just barely make out these weird plants kind of slowly waving around, and the clouds would pass over, and then suddenly I'm looking up at this beautiful ring planet in the sky, and then another storm would start. It just felt like a real alien type of place that, like, I stayed there for 3 or 4 game days just because I was so kind of enjoying the feeling of being there.
Cool. Yeah, it's the kind of thing you play the game for. I think for all its faults, I'm happy to and divergent crafting and exploration design. I'm happy it still can produce this kind of thing because this is like super eerie, and to stumble on this.
That's like that's when the game really shines, when you land somewhere and maybe you've got a to-do list in your head, like I gotta find this mineral, I gotta do this thing, but a place that makes you stop and just kind of like look at it and experience it a bit and forget about the fact that you need to find copper or that you're looking for a alien to talk to or a new ship, and just kind of like take some time to enjoy the planet. And I think that's kind of the goal for me.
Huh.
And it definitely feels like with this update there's a lot more of those moments and experiences out there.
It's also a life lesson. Take time to look at your surroundings.
Take time.
Life is a planet.
Smell the alien roses.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing all these photos and stories. I'm super, as disappointed as I was with No Man's Sky to start. I'm like very happy that we're still talking about this really weird space exploration game. Basically, the most expensive like music visualizer ever made, and it's still slow and more meditative than most games that sell like this. So I'm happy it's like in the conversation. Like how many people were playing the other day? Like 100,000 or something like that. Oh, there goes Chris again.
I think it was about 100K. Yeah.
Yeah. So and that was somewhere at least on Steam around half the original peak at the start. Is Chris there? How you doing, Chris?
I'm back.
There he
again.
is.
Tried to unmute.
It's all good.
Yeah, it
Too
was
close.
about 97,000 people on Steam this weekend.
Damn.
So
Cool. Yeah.
and you know, I think a lot is because the price went down to 50% off, which I think probably got a lot of new sales. But I think a lot of people are kind of returning to check it out too.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna keep playing. You bet. I still got to do some multiplayer though. Yeah, let's move on to listener questions. And before we get going on those, we always prioritize the PC Gamer Discord questions first. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say that, go to club.pcgamer.com to find out more. We have a monthly subscription service, and it's a nice way to support us directly. You get a digital subscription to the magazine. You get a free game each month. You get an ad-free experience on the site. First access to any beta keys we happen to get. You get some in-game cosmetics for a few games. You get nice photos of Geralt in the tub. Am I missing anything else? Yeah, a lot of good stuff, like $5 a month. So that's club.pcgamer.com. Oh yeah, access to our club Discord, of course.
That too.
Yeah, important. It's a nice place. Some good people in there. But if you have questions from Twitch chat, and if we have time to answer them, just tag PC Gamer with your question. I saw a couple going up during the show about Monster Hunter and No Man's Sky. Is it worth playing? Yada yada. Just tag PC Gamer, and we'll answer those quickly if we can. If you have any questions about Ninja's underwear, Ninja's brand line of underwear, not his actual underwear, you can ask those too. But let's start with one from Janrin from the club Discord. Kind of a two-pronged question. Gentlemen, how large is your Steam backlog right now?
I don't know. Infinite.
Yeah, I don't even want to think about it.
I keep installing and uninstalling The Witcher 3 and then not playing it.
I
do the same, but with Stardew Valley. I'm really afraid to. I'm just afraid of that game. Like all I hear from people is like, I played it for 14 hours my first time, and I'm addicted. I'm like, I don't know if I can take that right now.
It should be illegal to say, if you enjoy a game, it should be illegal to say how long you spent playing it. It should be illegal. No one should be allowed to say that, because that has turned me off from playing more games than I can count. Just trick me into starting it, and I'll take on that burden of time as I go. But yeah, my backlog is infinitely large, and I don't really I try not to stress about it more as I go on.
I mean, there are like 90s games that I want to play that I haven't played yet. So
hundreds and hundreds of games that I'll never play in my life. I'll die before I play them. That's okay. That's fine, probably. Second question. What do you guys think about the Steam Discovery Queue? Do you actively use it, or only during sales to get trading cards? Do you guys use that Discovery Queue for any reason at all?
I've poked through it before.
Yeah.
I kind of don't like it because I'll be like, I'll see something in it and I'll think it's like a new game, but it's like a 3-year-old game that's just being recommended because I played something else. Like, I really don't use Steam to find games I might like. I don't want to be told by an algorithm maybe what I like. It's usually when I go to Steam, it's for something that someone has recommended or has been talking about. I don't really use it as like, what game should I play? I'm going to go look at Steam. It's more of like, I heard people talking about this game and now I'll see if it's there.
I poke around, but because I play Rocket League a lot, it thinks I want to know about every soccer-themed game that exists, which I
Yeah.
don't.
I think it's a fairly volatile system. You look at one thing and all of a sudden your feed is inundated with like scantily clad anime people and
Yeah, it's like on Amazon when you buy, a lamp and it's like, would you like to buy the same lamp again?
I'm good.
You're like,
Good.
no, I already got it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's move on. Thank you, Janrin, for those. Another Steam themed question. So, does Valve's rash of Steam store updates make your experience any better? And if you could change the store or client, how and why would you change it? The way you want to change it. Go. Designers,
Um,
pro designers, answer.
yeah, I'm gonna redesign it now. It's fine. There's a lot going on the main store page that I feel like I scroll past and don't look at.
Yeah.
And I just go down to like new releases or top selling because that gives me the kind of information that I'm looking for. But I'm not necessarily the average person. I'm looking for like what are people playing right now that we should, be playing and talking about. Like Steven Universe, Save the Light. I should probably get on that. I don't know. I like the new chat. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not perfect, but I like that I can go invisible now. Not that I am hiding from you guys, but maybe
Okay.
I
All right.
a little bit.
Now I know.
Well, maybe I just want to play a meditative puzzle game without someone inviting me to play, a multiplayer game.
Fair enough.
I don't always want to appear available, so I like that. But it used to be you could do that, but you had to go all the way offline, so you couldn't like chat with anyone.
Mm-hmm.
There's a really minor thing for me to praise, a feature that every chat client has had for years.
What about you, Chris?
I haven't checked. I assume it's still the same way, but like, if it's a single player game that's got an update, I don't see why I have to be forced to update it before I start playing. Let me hear if this patch fucked things up first. Let me stick with this version I like. It's a single player game. It's not going to matter. Just tell me there's an update. You can tell me every time I start, hey, there's an update, but let me say, okay, that's cool, but I'm just going to keep playing pre-update.
Yeah.
It's no, like, for online games, I get it. Everyone needs to have the same version to connect to servers, but
Yeah, GOG Galaxy has a great feature where you can roll back updates and
yeah.
do what you want with your game. I love that because sometimes I'm trying to do weird things like use weird, hacks in a game, not cheating in an online game, in a single player game to like get a free camera to take cool screenshots, and then I'll find, the method for doing it, and the guy will be like, this only works in version 1.1 of the game. And I look and I have, whatever the current Steam version is, so I can't do it because I can't roll it back.
Yeah, especially for games with mods. A lot of times, if there's a patch, the mods will stop working. If you've got a bunch of mods, you might have to wait for the mod creators to update them, and some of them might not, quickly, or they might not ever. So yeah, I don't get it. It doesn't seem like it would be that hard to manage.
Yeah. For me, I've been harping about this for so long. Just better library management. Just so many people buy Humble Bundles on the reg now that most libraries are getting pretty out of hand, and navigating those or categorizing stuff. It's not fun. It's not fun. But thanks for the question, Mildos. So Philip from the Discord asks, with Yakuza 0 and Monster Hunter World both launching on PC this month, is there a console game you would most like to see on PC next? And I came up with an answer in case you guys can't think of one. And
I would like Bushido Blade and Bushido Blade 2 from the PS1.
Those are some deep cuts, Tyler. Explain yourself.
Those games were great. Those
I don't
games
know
were
anything about them.
fantastic. They are sword and weapon fighting games.
Oh.
One of the earlier ones with fighting games with a 3D sort of area to move around in. Like you were kind of locked to each other, but then you could kind of break off and run away.
Mm.
But it was also very much like parry, attack, and like, a killing blow would kill immediately. My friends and I would just have these tournaments. It was amazing. It was super fun, because it was unlike any other fighting game we had at the time. The rest of them were like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, etc., where it's like, standard fighting game thing. You beat down a health bar. It was like, I remember we were so hyped, like, there's no health bar. It's like real sword fighting. If you like stab someone, they die, and we thought it was the coolest thing ever. But if they remastered those for PC, I would love that. They can leave out the PS2 game, the spiritual successor, which was not very good. 'Cause I feel like I remember it totally lost the spirit of the series. But Bushido Blade 1 and 2, those games rule.
Cool. Chris, anything come to mind?
Hopefully that leaf blower isn't too loud. Breath of the Wild? No, that'll never happen. The original Red Dead never came to PC.
Hey, yeah.
I still want that. I would play that again on PC. I would buy it and play it again on PC.
Yeah, what the
That'd be my
hell,
vote.
Rockstar?
It's
When's it happening?
it's a mystery. It's a
Maybe
mystery.
they're waiting for the next one. Bundle them together on PC.
We'll see.
I don't know.
I
I can't figure them out.
For me, like, I don't even like Persona very much, but I would like Persona to be on the PC because it would be the only place I could actually stomach finishing one of those games. I think I
don't like it, but I want it.
I enjoy it. Like, I've played Persona 5 because everyone was raving about it, and I played like 40 hours of that fucking game. And most of the time I don't want to play it because to play it on my PS4 means playing it on the TV in this public space, and my partner constantly asking me what the fuck I'm watching. Or like, why are you at your teacher's house, and why is she in a maid outfit, and why are you flirting with your teacher? I don't want to have to explain that in iterations and variations of that kind of situation over and over. Just say it's a video game. There's a good combat there, good style, and it would just be nice to play on a PC where I could put my headphones on and get on my laptop in the corner and hide it.
Yeah, you want this game on a platform that's easier to hide from people around you. That's what you're saying? Okay.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's what handhelds were made for.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Philip. Yakuza 0's out today, I think. Yakuza. And we gave it a 90. We gave it a very high recommendation. Go read that review from Phil Savage. It's supposed to be pretty damn good.
I've never played one of those games, so I guess I'll start here.
You should. I've played Yakuza Kiwami, like the remake of the first one, and even that one, people said that one is tame. Even that one is like it's crazy. It's like the stuff happening in it is wild, and it's this like. It's a remake of a game that was the answer, like the Japanese answer to like GTA or open world, city games, and so it's like there's several filters of GTA. First, you've got like the Japanese game design of when was it, late 90s, early 2000s, and then you've got the remake for a Western audience, sort of like trying to bring that original GTA DNA back to the fore, and so the result is this like assembly of mini games and super arcadey combat and crime drama that is somehow earnest and sweet at times. I can't even describe. Yeah, and 0 is supposed to be that to the nth degree. So yeah, I'm excited to play that. I don't expect this question I included. I don't expect you guys to have answers, but I mostly ask because I want to know what the fuck you think about Harry Potter, and it'll be funny to hear that. So, JBJ Blaze, since it's the belated 38th birthday of Harry Potter, is that series that old?
No.
He must mean the character would be
Okay.
38 today.
Okay.
I would think.
Because I read that first book when I was 11 or something.
Yeah, that series is not older.
No.
than I am.
Okay, that just threw me for a loop there for a second. What's your favorite or least disliked Harry Potter game? And what do you think could or should come of a future Harry Potter game if there was one?
Man, I've never played a Harry Potter game.
Me neither.
I did know someone who had to review Harry Potter games.
Right.
I could ask her opinion, but if I were to make a Harry Potter game, what would it be?
I mean, it'd just be Skyrim with Harry Potter, like open world RPG, where you can cast spells and.
I think it would be good to focus on the school, going
Yeah.
to classes, learning, doing your homework.
I
I
mean,
think bully, but you're not a bully.
you're a wizard.
You're a wizard. Yeah.
if you think about it, wow, it's just hitting me. Danganronpa and Harry Potter have a lot in common in terms of like where they're set and what happens. There's just like weird murders at school. And by the way, school is fucking weird itself. It's like magic and
That's
there's
true.
crazy shit happening, and you sort of can't leave because it's a castle in a secret dimension or whatever the hell.
Yeah. Except you're not fighting an eternal battle between hope and despair and being murdered by a strange bear.
But what? Yeah, true. But like, what does Voldemort represent if not
A little bear
a little bear
guy.
robot? Despair.
You can play as the hat that sorts the kids and tells them which dorm they're in. Why is there a hat? Like, isn't that the hat's whole existence? It's like, I'm just gonna assign kids to their dorm. And I'm a hat.
Now that I think about that, like, if you're a student, especially when I was of that age, thinking about going to school and like being assigned to social group or some kind of like choosing your college, your team, like there was so much weight to that. But now that I'm well beyond it, it does sound pretty fucking stupid and inconsequential. The hat, whose entire is it sentient? Doesn't it like
I don't know. Someone knows. I guarantee there's an enormous wiki page devoted to the hat.
Here's a game. You play as J.K. Rowling, and your job is to basically add details to the Harry Potter universe after the fact without writing a new book, and make labored political points through analogies to the Harry Potter universe, which don't really apply, but apparently it's the only cultural touchstone we all have, so it has to be brought out at every moment. So yeah, you get to choose, all kinds of stuff about characters you've already written and published books about, but you can just kind of say them on Twitter.
Hey, why haven't they made like a Quidditch Rocket League game? Like, make a Quidditch sports game. I bet that would. Do you think people would like that?
Tom Marks could be, again, to bring him up, he could be the commentator, voice track for that.
He would be great. Well, thanks for the answers I expected and hoped for. I've played one Harry Potter game back when. It was some crappy action platformer that turned the school into, a level you had to hop through. What I do remember, I think, is that like you would hold a button and draw spells with the mouse, which was kind of cool. But that's about all I got. If there was another Harry Potter game, I don't fucking know. I hope there never is. That's not true. That's not true. People like it.
You want it.
I'm just like sick of it.
Now you're reviewing whatever the next one
no! We got time for maybe a couple more short ones. Here's one from the chat. This one's surprisingly for you, Tyler. Heartless asks, Hearthstone expansion next week. Is anybody excited? Normally I would look at all these faces here and say no. But since Tyler's been on, Tyler's undergone a change of sorts.
That's true. I've gotten back into Hearthstone.
Yeah.
It was funny because I just logged back in kind of on a whim because like someone told me like, oh, the single player stuff you can do, but they've added over the years is pretty fun. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And it told me like my October 2015 ranking or something when I logged in because apparently one day in 2015 I was like done. And I didn't come back until now. So I've been playing again, but I don't want to spend a crazy amount of money on it. So all I have are rogue cards, so I can only play rogue decks. So the only thing I'm excited about naturally are the rogue cards in the expansion. But there are some silly ones in there. I don't know. Let me try to pull up some of these cards. There's one that draws the rest of your deck, which is kind of crazy. You could probably find all kinds of ways to use that. That is a rogue card. And then there's a great new legendary that for every class, that if you have no cards in your hand, no cards in play, and no cards in your deck, and it dies, the enemy hero dies. You win. You win the game. It's just a you win the game condition,
Jeez.
which I can't wait to play with that plus the rogue card that draws your whole deck. It's a 10/10, and they could screw you up, because if its death rattle doesn't activate for some reason, that's an effect that happens when a creature dies. That's how it triggers killing the enemy hero. They could screw you up, but I prefer to play decks that don't necessarily have a high win percentage for decks that I think are stupid or funny when they work. So I'm definitely going to play a deck with that just to see what dumb thing happens. There's also a card that just gives you an entire deck, like from a selection of other decks. It's not a rogue card. I can't remember who it was, but I think I'll grab that card too, because that seems fun to just have one card that just deals you a new deck every game.
It sounds like they're just running out of rules. Like
They're running out of rules a little bit.
What can this card do? It just summons a whole new card deck, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. What does this one do?
That's not true.
It draws your whole deck, and if you don't have any cards, because we're out of ideas for those, you win. I kid. They're not out of ideas at all. There's some really fun stuff in this expansion,
Cool.
so I am excited. Yeah.
Right on.
The new system is magnetic, but I don't actually know what it does yet.
Well, I'm sure you'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
We got time for one more. Favis, and I don't expect you to have an answer for this one, because I sure as hell don't, but he is insisting I answer, longtime club member. What is your favorite roguelike? Not light, and in all caps, like.
Whoa.
None of that wimpy stuff where you can carry progress over or some whatever. I am guessing that's what he means, or maybe he's talking about like literal old-timey net hack stuff. But do your best from the last like 10 years from being inundated with nonstop roguelikes. What one stands out to you the most in your gaming history, in your experience? Nothing? I mean,
That's tough.
I don't know if it's a light or a like, to be honest, but Dungeons of Dreadmore, because it's very punishing but also very funny. It's a very well-written game.
Dungeons of Dreadmore. Right on. I haven't played that one.
So go ahead.
Oh, or, Spelunky. There's always Spelunky.
I was going to go to that as my answer, but maybe that's too easy. Crypt of the Necro Dancer, I think, is not... It's got some light stuff in there. You can carry some stuff over. But that one's great in my memory. I entered the Gungeon, got an update, so I don't really know how it qualifies anymore. But that one was like very fun to play, even if I did get hung up on the second or third world a little too often, no matter how good I got. Yeah, I don't know. There's plenty out there.
Yeah, I it's a bit tough when you do a lot of copy editing, because I often delete the word roguelike where I think that what they're describing isn't actually like rogue.
Yeah.
So I don't really think that this is a roguelike necessarily, but it shares qualities of rogue. I think Darkest Dungeon is great. But when people say roguelike, I don't think of like I'm taking a party out on excursions and some of them die. It's almost XCOM-y in that way. Some of them die, they don't come back, and you recruit new ones. So it's not a roguelike, really. I would delete the word roguelike if someone called it one in an article, but it's the game I like the most that is in an adjacent category that I can think of.
Cool. Right on. Good recommendations. Favis is probably angry that we did not stick to the strictest definition of the word. You asked, man. But thanks for the question. Thanks for all the questions, everybody. I think that's going to do it. We're about out of time. But before we go, remember you can always catch us at 1 p.m. Pacific time at twitch.tv/PCGamer. You can catch the show on youtube.com/PCGamer after the fact, or pcgamer.com/tag/podcast for the MP3 or iTunes and RSS feed. So you can listen any way you want, whatever suits you. We're hoping to get on some new podcast stores soon too, and we're still working on new layouts and segments and all that jazz. It's in progress. That stuff takes time, especially when you still have plenty of games to report on. So be patient. It's coming. It's going to look nice. I've shared around some of the layouts around in our Slack, and people are excited. So, but yeah, until next week, what's my new thing? Never forget the power of play.
Beautiful.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.